Okay. B, discuss negotiations, insurance, and civil salaries.
Yeah, there should have been a piece of paper at your desk for operators like this. On the side that looks like this is our current salary schedule. This might happen to be WLBA. The one in the SAC contract is very similar. The numbers are different, maybe the number of steps. But it's as simple as that. If you are BA step 1, you make $26,920. Well, that was too simple. So now, on the other side, it's a sample. If you remember from last month, the state said we have to have a single salary schedule that includes phase 2 and teacher quality money. In the past, the teachers still received this money. We just had separate agreements, and then they would receive it in 9 or 11 payments, depending on how we had agreed to pay it to them. Now they'll get it in their regular monthly checks, be it 12 or 24 times a year, depending on the school district. So this is just a sample of what I've given both associations and what we're going to propose, probably end up in our master contract next year. But it's going to incorporate those three things. Let's just look at BA step 1, the top left-hand corner of this little chart. And you see the base salary of $26,920. That would be our old Schedule A, just the salary for BA step 1. Then the TQ, the $5,132, is the teacher quality money. And both districts, there's some rules we have to abide by to make sure teachers make their first year minimum and their third year minimum. For our districts, that hasn't been a problem. So basically every teacher in both districts received the same amount of money. It might have been different for WLBA versus SAC, but if you were a WLBA teacher, you received the same amount of teacher quality money as everybody else, same for the SAC teachers. Because that's how we've agreed with the teachers to distribute that. The next step down is phase 2, and both districts have different rules on how they distribute that, but it's basically the more experience you have and the more education you have, the more phase 2 money you have and you receive. So we are going to propose that we build them into a salary schedule that looks similar to this, and I guess the advantage is when we interview a teacher or talk to somebody, we can say if you're BA step 1 in this example, you're going to make $32,252, and that includes everything. In the past, we would have said you're going to make $26,920, plus you're going to get about $5,000 in teacher quality money and a couple hundred in phase money. So the reason we want to build it this way is we're not guaranteed to always have phase 2 money or teacher quality money. And we want everybody to see, instead of just putting that $32,000 out there, we could do that and have it look like this. But then when that goes away, this is pretty clear what's being taken away from you if the state takes away teacher quality money. Or if they take away phase money. So the bottom line there, total expense with FICA, ITRS, and insurance probably won't be on there. That was something that was easy to include, and we did, just so we could kind of see if you hire a teacher or someone on this schedule, the total cost for this year for that teacher. So, teacher quality number, the amount of money we get changes each year. The phase 2 number, the amount of money we get changes each year. So that $5,132 is not a fixed number. Next year it might be $4,400.
We have always negotiated with both unions equitable distribution of the teacher quality money. So if you're a full-time teacher, just like John said, in Lowell, every full-time teacher gets the same amount. If you're half-time, you get half of what the full-time teacher gets. Same thing as that. And our agreement also was that if we didn't get the money, the second paragraph of the agreement was if we didn't get the money, then we never paid the money. And in the master contract, it already addresses phase 2 in both districts, so that hasn't really ever been an issue either. And the state, the legislation was put it all on one schedule, but it didn't ever say that we still didn't we still couldn't negotiate. If we don't receive the money, you're not going to get the money. So that's still what our negotiations will be, just like they've been every other year with teacher quality. If we don't get it, you don't get it. Or phase 2. If they take phase 2 away, then we're not making up the difference in phase 2, because again, it just flows through us. Comes to us, goes right to the teachers. And the sample idea is that, like John said, the numbers will be different, and the schedule looks a little different for Sac or Wallach Auburn. But basically, without a title or without you knowing what base pay is, one won't look much different than the other. But it's the concept of how teachers will be able to read it, what that simple salary schedule will look like. So, not asking for your approval of anything at this point, because we needed to present this concept to the education associations to just say, this is what it will look like. It will look like this now instead of the back side of the paper. We're not giving away any district money. We're just showing how it's going to flow through the district and still meet the minimums for first and third year teachers. So this is an FYI to all of you, to just sort of, you might say, so why the single salary schedule? We have no idea why they legislated it. Absolutely no idea, because it was just fine the way it was before. But every district now is taking theirs and scrambling to get this put together. The other update topic was insurance, and for the board members who would be interested in sitting in, we're going to meet the 15th, which is Monday, the 15th of March at 3:45 at the business office in Lakeview with both unions, and we'll be continuing to talk about insurance. We've received letters to board presidents and to business offices to open up insurance and take a look at it. And then the only other letter we received for each district was to open up the single salary schedule to do that. And the reason they had to write a letter to us is without that, we'd already negotiated a master contract and contract for 3.5% increase. So unless we agree to open up a piece of it, we can't negotiate it. So that's what those letters meant. The salary schedule was mandated that schools had to do that, and the insurance was because last spring when we negotiated our 2-year contract, we agreed that we'd come back and look at insurance. And we really have had, I think, quite good discussions about insurance. We're looking at some movement, I think, on insurance. So that's been very helpful, and the conversations have been very, very good. So,
did you say the insurance increased?
11.5%. One district in our AEA increased 55%, a district. So,
for my education here, are both bases of salaries?
Okay, you're back on.
I'm back on this because I never got a chance to throw that in. But are both bases of salaries of both all the same?
No.
They're not the same.
No.
What is the difference between their Wall Lakes and Lakeview versus SAC?
The examples I used are WLBA, so that should be current. WLBA's base is 26,920. SAC's base.
I can look it up.
Come on, Brent.
I don't think 25, 250 or something.
No, I get Emerson 250. It's lower.
It is lower.
Okay, there's a reason why I'm on that, is because then the schedule that you have in front of me is based on a single number of increments at a certain amount. Am I correct in saying that? Rather than thinking through the SAC contract, which is based on a percentage of the base, and each one is, am I correct in saying that?
I don't have the SACs in front of me.
I believe so. I believe what you're saying is
That's
correct.
the difference.
Okay.
So,
In Schedule A, it's the difference.
okay.
But how we distribute teacher quality has been exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah. And how we distribute phase 2 is different in each district. There's a formula of some sort that's different for SAC than it is at Wallach Auburn.
And don't make me quote it verbatim, because I always have to read it and look, but in WLBA, you just count how many steps there are. So if you're in BA, step 5, you're at 5, but if you move over a column, you have 6 steps. It's pretty straightforward. And then we add up everybody's steps and divide it by the amount of money we have. SAC does it a little different. I can't remember if they give 2 steps when you get farther down or a half a step. You may know better than I do, Dave, if you were involved in the
I
study.
was involved in that a couple hundred years ago.